kind of going back, I know you mentioned Trent Astic. He was definitely a guy that I thought that, you had your hand in training. But with Cesaro, a.k.a. Claudio, did you see him being like on a guy that would be on WWE's radar, given his size and his athletic ability?
I always joked with people because I can't remember who did it with me. Somebody did it with me, and they said all you have to do is start spreading the rumor that like WWF is looking at you, WWE. It shows you how old school I am. I still call it WWF, but all you have to do is start the rumor that WWE is looking at you. And I could remember somebody told me that, and I can remember joking with Claudio because Claudio had like a world of talent. I mean, you could just see the guy had talent. He had a great look. He had an amazing build, and that guy could work in the ring. He was one of those guys that could make a broom look good, and he was so humble. He would always be like, "No, it's not me," and you're just like, that broom didn't do it itself. And he was just so humble. He's a guy I'm not surprised that he is where he is, and he's just such a humble guy, such a great guy. Just looking at some of those guys like that came up, I'm not by any means surprised with a lot of these guys and what they've become and how they've matured. Just being involved with them to some degree or another.
Yeah, and it's funny, now he's out right now with injury, but he was one of the guys that, supposedly John Cena went to bat for, and that the crowd seems to be really, really into, but for whatever reason, he's kind of been being used as, like you said, quote unquote, he's making that broom look good. Like he just made Roman Reigns look really good. He's like kind of the guy that makes the guy they're trying to push really, really good. But I think the fans are starting to notice that he's the guy that that should be pushed.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not surprised he is where he is. It's just a top quality guy, and it's nice to have good people pushing for you. I've heard that about Cena before, that he's really big on the younger guys or really like pushes for the talented guys. And I think I may have done a show with Cena way back in the day. I think it was like one of those camp shows, WWF wrestling camp shows. I can't remember if it was with him or no, it wasn't him. Now I'm thinking about it. It was Kurt Angle. But I've always heard good things about Cena. Just being real humble and really nice and going to the bat for guys like that. I've always heard good things about him. Never met the guy. That was, outside of my time. And, it's always nice to hear you telling me that he went to bat for him because, you need guys like that going to bat for you, a lot of times. But, I think of Owen Hart. Owen Hart, he passed away, and it took for him to pass away for everybody to talk about how amazing he was. And he was. He was amazing. And he was one of those guys that other guys were built on. And like talking about that strong foundation, and he was just like one of those cream of the crop guys, and they had a handful of guys that were what the fans might consider the mid-card guys or the guys that get beat up all the time or the guys that aren't really that good. And these were the guys that were making their superstars that they loved look like $1 million, and teaching them and training them and building them up. And, so it's really nice to hear, that there are some other guys that are pulling for guys like that, and fighting for them. And, the business has to be, built on a strong foundation because when it's weak, everybody suffers. And, but when it's strong, it reaps benefits for everybody.